I was 6 years old when I first took piano lessons, and 13 when I decided I wanted to become a classical pianist and worldwide performer. 4 years later, I participated in 2 national piano contests, but I was disqualified from the last one in the very first round, and it was one of the saddest and loneliest moments of my life, especially because neither any of my family members nor even my own piano teacher attended the trial. With little to no social, moral, or emotional support, I knew that continuing my attempts at becoming a professional musician would lead me nowhere. Confused about what to do in life after finishing high school, I jumped from one job to another, even becoming a flight attendant, salesperson, or bartender, while chronic depression, compulsive disorders, and multiple addictions took over my life and continued to worsen year after year. In 1996, after a colossal economic collapse, political and social instability in Venezuela, I emigrated to the United States, here in South Florida, the original land of the Tequesta Miccosukee peoples. 9 months later, I was introduced to the Soka Gakkai and Nichiren Buddhism. I received one of my first conspicuous benefits when I determined to chant Nam-myoho Renge-kyo with the goal of using my musical knowledge and finding at least 25 piano students. One day, visiting a nearby music store to check some piano books, an employee, a woman from Venezuela I had last seen 6 years earlier, recognized me and said to the store owner, "Look, Paul, here is the piano teacher you were looking for." Without even trying to look for the job found me. Here, I met a very kind classical guitar teacher from Cuba, who encouraged me to study an extensive repertoire to be able to perform at private events and hotels. Volunteering as a rehearsal pianist and accompanist for the Florida Ikeda Chorus, and my occasional solo performances at Buddhist meetings gave me the great joy of encouraging others through music and allowed me to develop self-confidence. Every job I found as a pianist became actual proof that no causes made through our Buddhist activities are wasted. I was hired to play at private parties, weddings, and by a 5-star hotel, while I continued giving my students the best education I could despite my limited training and experience as a teacher. However, I soon realized that this line of work did not bring me either spiritual, emotional, nor financial fulfillment. In the SGI, I was reminded that each one of us is born with a unique mission to fulfill in this lifetime. Therefore, I stopped looking for a career passion or the ideal type of job and determined on finding my unique mission. The question was how to realize which mission that was. I took the following line from Nichiren's writings as my guiding star. If one lights a fire for others, one will brighten one's own way. How did I do this? By applying myself to the daily study of our Buddhist publications in order to practice correctly and sharing its profound wisdom with others. By making every effort to be the best possible leader, and by taking every single opportunity to encourage others at home or at work with my words, my piano playing, or by just being there. Always counting with the unconditional support of my Buddhist friends. Exhausted by an unstable line of work, I decided to take an office job and started attending college in pursuit of a bachelor's degree in social sciences. Then, a few years later, my view of life would change forever. When on a cold morning, in December of 2009, I experienced a dramatic awakening when I witnessed my companion of 10 years, my tabby cat, JJ, having to be euthanized after his health condition worsened due to diabetes. It was the first time I saw firsthand a living being exhale his last breath, and I instantly became overwhelmed by the realization that his life was fundamentally no different than that of a human being. With this sentiment, months later, I incidentally found documentaries revealing the harrowing realities of the cruel treatment and exploitation of millions and billions of animals for food, clothing, experimentation, and entertainment. From then on, it would be impossible for me to disconnect the grief I felt from my cat's death from the grief of witnessing countless of sentient creatures' right to life denied. I immediately became an animal rights advocate by changing my eating habits that excluded animals' ingredients, advocating, protecting, and rescuing wild and companion animals, and volunteering for the South Florida Wildlife Center. Nothing else has brought me more satisfaction in life since then. However, the more I learned about the harrowing realities of animal oppression, the more I feared I might not be emotionally strong enough to continue my advocacy without burning out and generous public indifference and rejection. Fortunately, I was already taking responsibility by getting the best psychological treatment I could find and committing to recovering from years of childhood trauma and addictions. Doing this and keeping a strong daily Buddhist practice was key in enabling me to see clearly whether I was choosing the right path in life. In 2015, I graduated with a bachelor's degree in sociology and anthropology. However, I was now conflicted between whether to work in the field of human rights or animal protection. My doubts started to dissipate when I read an essay by Ikeda-sensei in which he quoted his mentor Josei Toda, who said that knowing your mission means that you have found something for which you would gladly give your life without regrets. That makes you strong. Then there is no fear or uncertainty. Enchanted with renewed faith that I would find that mission, I could not believe it when I found out about the field of humane education, which focuses on teaching about the compassionate and respectful treatment of humans, animals, and natural ecosystems, not as independent issues, but as interrelated ones. In other words, I did not have to choose between one field or another, since they all intersect. Once it became clear I did not belong to an office job, I submitted my letter of resignation, even though I did not have a job waiting for me. In the following month, I visited 2 farm animal sanctuaries in North and Central Florida and had the most enchanting encounters with beings I had only seen in images. The experience overwhelmed me with a mixture of feelings of intense joy and heartbreak, which confirmed that I was making the right choice in my next chapter as a bodhisattva of the earth. A few months later, I was hired by the director of the Institute of Lifelong Learning of Nova Southeastern University to give a lecture on the history of animal rights in America and the world. A few days later, before the breakout of the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020, I started my master's program with the Institute for Humane Education and Antioch University, where I found myself under the glorious care of compassionate and knowledgeable professors, including our Mary Pat Champeau, who was also our academic advisor. Here you see her with short hair on the left, giving a lovely koala bear hug to Zoe Weil, the founder of the Institute for Humane Education. In the last year of the program, I engaged in spiritual advocacy demonstrations at the Miami Seaquarium and outside slaughterhouses, connected with the members of the Farm Worker Association of Florida, and sent letters and petitions to government officials and corporations. At these demonstrations, I chanted Nam-myoho Renge-kyo for the protection and happiness of all involved, including advocates, law enforcement officers, and those involved in the industry of animal captivity. Often people would approach me to find out about the mantra of Nam-myoho Renge-kyo. During this time, I found an even deeper level of joy in playing the piano and encouraging family, friends, professors, and fellow students by recording myself with my smartphone and texting them the audio file. I completed my Master of Arts in Humane Education and presented my thesis on abolishing systems of human rights abuses, animal exploitation, and environmental degradation through nonviolent direct action. After graduation, I was invited by the International Center for Nonviolent Conflict to participate in a semester on the nonviolent philosophies and practices to achieve social change and justice, and I'm now completing a program on social justice and our food system with one of the largest American animal protection organizations, Farm Sanctuary. Today, I want to declare that my mission in this lifetime and beyond is to contribute to the eradication of misery of human and animals from the face of the earth and help make our green and blue planet a safe and peaceful place for our youth and thousands of generations into the future by applying the principles of value creation of the Soka Gakkai in the field of humane education and introducing the principles of humane education to the Soka Gakkai in the US and worldwide. And remember, if one lights a fire for others, one will brighten one's own way.